Have you ever remembered a time when you were struggling to get through something and the thought that went through your mind is, I hope this too will pass? Or maybe you've made a decision and it hasn't had the best results and you're embarrassed. Today's topic is why healing occurs when you tell your story. You know, that story that you don't think you want to tell anyone? The story that possibly you're thinking, if my clients ever knew this happened to me, what would they think? I'm talking about that story. My name is Suzanne Hart, and welcome to Unstoppable Mindset. This conversation is definitely for you if you want to learn how to tell your story so that it's impactful and powerful. This is for you if you remember a time when you were going on a journey and you came through the other end and found that there was some lessons, but first you had to grow through the moment. This conversation is for you if you have a desire to touch, move, and inspire your audience and impact your divine client, that person you are called to serve. This is Unstoppable Mindset, so welcome. We provide breakthrough strategies to help you get through the most challenging of times. All right, breakthrough strategies to help you reset your thinking. So let's see who's out there. I see Sharia has joined us, and as you come on, this is what I'm going to ask you to do. Let us know where you're joining us from. And if you're on whatever platform, put your name in the comment section so we know exactly who you are. Where are you joining us from? Who are you called to serve? And what particularly brought you out tonight? What about this conversation attracted you? If you have a comment, definitely put it in the comment section. As you're jumping on, I also want you to share this. Bless a life with someone who you think this conversation will inspire. We like to ask you to bless 5 lives. This is share it to your page, share it to your group, share it with a friend, because when we get in conversations around things we learn, magic happens. So I am so excited to be here. If you're listening to the replay, thank you, and hashtag replay. And I'm going to ask you to do the same thing. In the comment section, let us know where you're joining us from, what you do while you're living, and who exactly are you called to serve. Those lives you believe you're here to impact. Also, let us know what touched you about this video, this conversation. This is going to be a good one. Let us know what inspired you. When you love what you hear, and I trust you will, go ahead, bless a life, share it to a page, share it with a friend, get a conversation about something that inspired and moves you. All right, so I see that we have some friends joining, but I don't want to get this party started. I want to jump right into this conversation. So welcome to Unstoppable Mindset. As I said, my name is Suzanne Hart. Each week we provide you with breakthrough strategies to help you reset your thinking. I have a very special guest tonight. I'm trying to get my mouth working. Bear with me. I have a very special guest tonight. This woman I met probably about 8 years ago. And I remember meeting her at a mutual friend's home, and we connected. I also knew that she had gone through some challenging times, but she was definitely on a personal development journey. About a year and a half ago, she joined our Unleash the Power of Your Story program and also our freestyle program. And she learned to tell her story in the most powerful way. I have to tell you, the journey from the beginning of Unleash the Power of Your Story to when we finally filmed her video was mind-boggling. She's here to talk to you about the healing that can occur when you tell your story, and why you have to go through that journey before you choose to tell your story, particularly to an audience. So please help me welcome Claudia Ojeda.
Hi, Suzanne. Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. So happy to be here today. So excited.
Hey, Claudia, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much, Suzanne. So happy, as I said, right? Like this is a dream come true to me, right? Because as you said, we have known each other for 8 years. I couldn't believe when you said it's like, oh my God, it's been that long.
Yeah.
And it's just so good to be here. Like I'm so happy and so grateful for this opportunity to share what I'm going to share today.
Well, you know what? I'm excited to just share your journey and your conversation with everyone that's listening. So I want to jump in a little. First of all, what had you choose to go on a journey to begin to learn to share your story, or even to want to learn how to speak? What was that about?
Well, it's funny because when you talk about talking to an audience, right? A lot of people say, "Oh, that's panic. I would have never done that." But I had a couple of opportunities to actually give some presentations that were related to things that are important to me, right, at the beginning, and I realized how good it feels when, after you have given your speech or the talk that you are giving, people come to you and they say, "You know what? I felt you." Or I know what you're talking about, and then they share with you, why they connected on that way. So, and that was, without having a lot of thought about it. So when I went to see you, because I've seen you as a speaker, and I was saying, oh my God, like the way you share, and it's not that I don't want to say the kind of speaker that is like memorizing or looking at a presentation or anything like that. It comes from the heart. Right? And so when you have that, that opportunity, it's like you multiply the amount of people that you can touch with your message, right? That someone can hear you, multiply by the people that are willing to do that. And so for me, that was the key. I said, you know what, I need to really learn how to do this so that I can properly put my heart into it. And that's why I joined with you, and now it's been like just so amazing. Even though I never saw myself there, and now it's like I just envisioned that I have a vision that I want to talk to an audience, connect with them, and help.
I love it. I love it. And it's so true. So how many of you listening, and I see we have individuals joining us, so welcome. How many of you listening have thought, I would love to speak in front of an audience, but think, no, I'm never going to do that. It's scary. It's not for me. So, if that's you, definitely put a comment in the comment section. So what I want to know is, so you have this idea, and did you have an idea of what you wanted to share? Did you have an idea of what you wanted to impart to an audience?
Yeah, that's, I think, part of the journey is to get clarity on what message you want to share. Mm-hmm. But one thing that it was always clear to me is that I want to, to help people to get better, right? So everything started with that idea, okay. And when you say it like that, it's very general, right? Like, first of all, the first time I said, okay, I want people to get healthier. And I was starting from the outside instead of the inside. But, I have evolved. That's how I feel. The more you put into it, because it's not immediately. You're not going to know what your message is right away, right? So I started like, okay, I want to help people to get healthier.
Right.
And then, that was the very first thing. And I will say that was the origin, because I thought, okay, if I get healthier, if I get leaner, if I do this, I'm going to be happier.
Yeah.
And through that journey, I realized that there was something else that was missing. But the clarity that I had is, I want to help. I want to contribute. I want to be able to help others to feel better, right? So that will be what inspired me. That's how it started, actually. So.
And I think most of us, that's how it starts. We believe we want to speak, and we believe that the message is the obvious thing.
Yeah.
And I remember telling everyone in the program that the first client that you ever have is yourself. You are your very first client. And that the message I believe we're all called to share is the message that was born in our messiest of moments, our most tragic of moments, our most moments when we feel the most upside down. And I know going through the program, you saw something you needed to share that probably surprised you.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about that.
So I realized, so it's what is surprised me and what is really enjoyable actually now that I think about the process, right, is how we start with an idea of what is that we need to, that is bothering us, what is that it's holding us back, right? And so instead of doing like a journey of searching what is happening, we get, in my case, I got fixated on, okay, I experienced this loss, right? I lost my husband 10 years ago, it's going to be, right? So, and I shared this story with you guys. And I thought that in that moment that what it has been holding me back was the pain of losing him. And I went through several things, like I got mad with everyone and everything, and but through the conversations that we were having, when I was experiencing this, and the conversation we had, I realized that there was something deeper that came out only by sharing my story of how I was feeling. Because every time I was, unwrapping a feeling or a memory of pain that I had gone through those years, I realized that wasn't it, right?
Wow.
And it was painful yet liberating, because it made me understood and actually really feel the loss of my husband, which it's two different things, right? Is one thing is you think you are mourning the loss of someone, whereas you mourning something that you thought you had or that you needed more specifically, right? Like I was so mad because I felt like I was not going to be able to keep going. Right? I had this idea that was in my mind through my mom. God bless her heart. May she rest in peace, right? Because she was raised in a very different culture where her talk to me about your partner, it was to look for a provider, not for a partner. And the funny thing is, I always was kind of rebellious on that one, right? I was like, I don't understand, but deep down, it came into my brain. And so for me, it was necessary, the idea to be with someone if I wanted to have the life that I was supposed to have.
So if I get this right, part of what you saw, so the story that you were beginning to explore and the story that you thought you were actually going to be telling was about surviving the loss of your husband.
Yes.
And what you realized was that you were actually surviving the loss of an idea, exactly. a belief system, which was that women get married and they get someone to provide for them. And when they have a male provider, that they live happily ever after.
Yes. And the funny thing is, like my husband, like I've always been, I've never liked to depend on anyone. And my husband and I, we had a beautiful relationship. We shared everything. So in reality, he was the one doing all those things, like if we wanted to buy a car, he will be the one doing all the research and all the things that I never thought I will be taking care of, right? He was able to do that. But the worst part, or the best part now that I see it, is that I didn't realize while I was mourning that was kind of getting into the way to really feel the loss of my partner. I was feeling him, like I was, and as I said, it's going to be 10 years and I still, feel the pain as every time approaches the date of his passing. But now it's different, because not only through all this process I've learned that was holding me back was this idea of needing to have someone so I could reach the happily ever after, you said, as is presented to us, right? But once I saw that, it's just, you realize that that's not how it is, and that's not the way I want my daughters to see me. I don't, I have 2 girls, so it's super important for me. So at this point in my life, when I think about my husband, about the loss, it hurts, but in a different way.
Talk a little bit about that.
So when I think about that loss, right, like after his passing, I made so many mistakes. Like, losing someone that you love that much as I love my husband. And even if he's not here, I still loving him, right?
Yeah.
That love is never going to go away ever. But you have this idea that your life is going to be one way, and you hold accountable that person for that without knowing, right? Like I made my husband accountable for my happiness and my security without even thinking about it. It was in me.
Oh, stop there for a moment, because I wanna just highlight that for everyone listening. So how often do we unknowingly hold someone accountable or responsible for completing us, for making us happy, for providing for us, for helping us achieve our goals, all those different things. And so I remember you saying you were angry at him for leaving and leaving you with all these dreams and no one to help provide it.
Yeah. And when we talk about he leaving me with all those dreams, it's because I have made my idea that I was putting in his hands without him knowing, right? All this happiness that I was looking like. When I look back at the moment, like I feel like we have the perfect thing going, right? Like he will come from work and he was with the girls, and then I will come, he will pick me up, call it like he was always hands-on man, right? Like it's amazing. I can tell you so many things. Excellent, extraordinary human being. And when I lost him, I was upset and angry and sad, but I was, there was a point where I said, how do you dare leave in me, right? I didn't tell him anything because obviously, it was very hard the way he was feeling, because he wanted to be always the strong person, the one helping everyone. He was the one trying to see that everyone was provided for and like safe. And so I took on that role. Because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be with him. But when he was gone, all of a sudden, everything shattered, right? I was, okay, so how am I going to do this? And then because I thought I wasn't able to do it, I look up for help with people that I should have not done that, So everything started from there. And it was a period of chain of events where I start blaming the others, but I never stopped to realize that, I had a responsibility on it. And I was just getting angrier by the day, right? And excuse me. And so when it came to the point where I realized that, I was very, very devastated, right? I thought I lost my husband. He left me. Actually, that's how I used to say he left me, when he didn't let me, he didn't say, okay, I'm gonna die tomorrow. Now and then after that, I started taking decisions based on how I wanted people to perceive me. I didn't want people to say, oh, poor woman, right? She lost her husband, and so I started doing things that had an impact that even now I'm still kind of having them, but I worked through it and I'm working much better now. But when the moment came when I was very sad, and I thought, I don't think excuse me, I can give more or I make a difference right now, right? Like it's my daughters are, they are growing up and probably they will be better, without me here.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was a dangerous place. But
so you had a moment where you thought that life was so hard that you were thinking of ending.
yeah, I thought it would be better for me just not to be here and for my kids. And I cannot tell you the impact of that thought. What I tell you that I can feel the feeling that I had in that moment
Mm-hmm.
where I was just thinking that. But then I thought, okay, how? So how am I gonna leave my daughter's house? Like I can't do that, right? It's like this is not this is not right. Like no. And I look for help. I talked to my family, to my brother. I talked to my doctor, and that's when my healing process started. And it took a while, right? Because I started taking care of myself first, and then I started exploring what was that it was really not letting me leave that behind. Because even though I had I had that moment of realization, I still with the pain inside.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so when I was having these conversations with you, remember, I thought, okay, so I realized that I had been holding myself back all the time. First of all, because of my lack of belief in myself, I was asking for help instead of informing me how to do things myself.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of looking for ways that will help me to solve the problem in hand and not trying to look for someone to solve the problems for me. Right? Which is a complete different story and what makes the whole difference. It looks like it's not much, but just the fact that I was feeling that I wasn't able to take care of the minimum things that needed to be done,
Mm-hmm.
that told me something. And then that's when I started thinking, why is that every time I think about buying a house, I think that I have to be with someone? Because the idea is you buy a house, you buy the car, you have the husband, and you're happy. And right, like
it is. We are,
and that's how, like, and now it's funny because now every time I see that, like in movies and everything, it's like, why did they put like the woman that was able to raise their kids, because that was the life she had, right? So when I went back to think about why is that I think this way, that's when I came to the realization that my mom, without knowing, right, she was worried about my well-being.
Mm-hmm.
And for her, in her idea, the well-being was, you need to be with someone that provides for you and that gives you everything you want, and that he buys you the house, he buys you the car, and pretty much you don't have to worry about anything, and whatever you earn, that's for you. And I was kind of, no, that's not that's not it, right? Because I like being independent, and I like the feeling when you really work for something and you have that reward is
So
no words.
So tell me, because what was it about the journey? Because I know in in our program, when you were in our program, we started unpacking this story. Because so just to recap for those who are joining us, Claudia is one of the participants in our Unleash the Power of Your Story program, and your desire was to take the stage. And originally you came in and you thought it was health and wellness, and you thought that you're going to help people, get healthy, and it was external. Yeah. And then through the journey, you realized that you had all the external tools, but nothing was happening internally. Yeah. And then you realized that you were stopped somewhere else, and that took you back to the loss of your husband, and realizing that you had put a lot of responsibility on him for your happiness, your well-being, your financial stability, all those things. And when he passed away, part of what you realized, you thought that this is it. What am I going to do? Started looking to other people to make decisions for you. Yeah. And and wound up in a situation where decisions were made that were not beneficial for you.
Yeah.
What was the moment when you realized that that the story was not about what you thought it was, but it was about finding your independence and taking 100% responsibility for your life?
Yeah. So that moment came when one of the days that I was sharing my story, and those exercises that we were doing, that share your story, and I was putting together the words. It came to me because I was thinking, okay, I was feeling overwhelmed in that moment, right? Because there were a lot of things going on, and then I thought, okay, so I look back and I said, okay, I lost Mike, my husband, and I look at where I am today, right? I started realizing how I was doing the work without recognizing myself for it, right? It was the moment where people will tell me, my friends will tell me, very close friends, they will tell me, I don't know how, you are like, you have done all this, you should be proud of yourself. And I was, there was something like, okay, why do I still thinking that I can do it myself? What is it that is in my mind that other people see things that I can't?
So let's get this straight. And I see Coach Tawana is on. I see Yetta Decker is on. I see Barbara is on. Some of your friends are on. I see a Facebook user, I don't know who it is, who says, I can definitely relate. There's Taria on, Cindy's on. She's saying, hello, ladies. So you were doing the work, but not seeing yourself as capable of doing the work.
Exactly.
Oh. So if you are someone who's listening and you have brilliance in yourself and you do things and you don't realize it until someone else points it out to you, put yes in the comment section so Claudia can see how many people relate to that, just that thought. So what happened when you started kind of going, oh, but I'm doing this anyway, I'm doing these things?
Yeah, so that that was the moment, like the revelation of saying, okay, so I am financially independent, right? Which
Okay.
my mom. So that was the first thing. Like I was, coming back from a really bad hole that was not created. Well, it was created by my decisions that I wrongly made.
Yeah.
So
okay.
That was the first thing I was going to say. But when I realized that, I said, okay, so why is it? And then it just pulled me back. I'm telling you, I remember like so clearly, because I was thinking, I was mad at myself in a way, because I was thinking, why is that other people tell me that I'm capable of doing things, and yet I feel that, oh, every time I want to think about buying a property, I'm like, oh no, that's no, I can't, because it's just me. It's just me. The powerful, the just me. I was like, what am I talking about? What do you mean, just me? It is me. I don't need a just. It's like when you have that expression, it's saying you are not enough. It's just you. And so I have all these moments, and I'm thinking, you know what? This brings me back, and I thought about my mom, saying, about my mom, because she was always providing for us, right? She was always with a stable work. She was very hardworking woman, and yet she thought that instead of telling me, right, look how I have put you and your brothers, like the way you are, you can do this. Her thought process was different. Her thought process was, I want you to have what I didn't have, that I thought I needed.
Wow.
She thought she needed a man that will provide for her so she could do things, without realizing that she was doing everything while thinking she needed something.
Ooh, pause, stop, hold the fort. Is everyone getting this? And so what you're really speaking to is our conditioning is so strong. Our conditioning through movies, our conditioning through school, our conditioning through storybooks, our conditioning through all these different things. And who would think, you growing from the loss and the mourning of your husband, that you would come to the conclusion and the understanding that the real issue is you taking 100% responsibility for your independence.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, that was a powerful moment. And another powerful moment was when I had a really honest and deep talk with myself about where I was and where I wanted to go, right? Because I was so fixated into blaming people that had done me wrong that I never, stopped for a minute, I think, and thought, okay, who took those decisions?
Mm.
Said yes to whatever it was proposed, right? It was me.
For me, the realization when I had a similar aha, Claudia, was that I was everywhere. Like every bad decision that I wanted to blame someone else, oh, I was there. I was there. And the realization was that, yeah, and no decision is still a decision.
Yeah.
Silence is still a decision.
Exactly.
Right? Going along resentfully is still a decision. That is huge.
Yeah. No. So and as I said, I mean, it's painful, because you have to you don't have anyone else to blame, so you have to take it. But as painful as liberating, because when you take that responsibility in your hands and you said, okay, it was me, right? Like the decisions. You took bad decisions, yes, but you can take good ones too.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You can kind of change the course of where you're going, and then you will be responsible as well for your success.
Wow.
For where you want to go. And that for me, Susan, it's been one of the most powerful and empowering experiences I've had. And I say this, it is important to clarify that doesn't mean that, all women we see that the man has to be provided. For those women that they have an excellent partner to them, they are so fortunate, and I'm very happy for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's good, because I think I don't want to sound like, oh, I want to do everything by myself. I just want to feel that I can do it because I am enough to do it. And
that is such a beautiful point. And because even if I am in a loving, healthy relationship, I think oftentimes what makes a relationship healthy is that I know on my own I am enough. Yes. But us together, wow. So it's not that I need someone to complete me, that cliche statement. However, it is that we both come together complete and whole and independent, and together we are magical, let's say.
Exactly, which is a complete different scenario. Like I don't put in anyone else's hands my feeling of happiness or my feeling of, I am accomplished or anything like that. I don't want to put that burden. I don't want that burden on me. I don't want anyone, depending on how I react or how I am, for them to feel happy. I want to be a good partner. I want to contribute to their growth together. But the reality is the whole point of the responsibility is that we are responsible for our happiness. We're responsible for our life. We're responsible for where we want to be. We can't be giving that to others. They have enough with their own lives. Right? Like it's not like when I think about it, why would I thinking that? And so that put everything in such a beautiful perspective, because now when I think about the loss of my husband, I think about the loss of the wonderful partner that he was, the wonderful and loving father, the wonderful and loving husband, the fun friend. I don't think about We lost the possibility we were going to buy a house, we were going to be together, and everything was going to be fine. No, I thought about all the hard moments, and those moments that we were together while he was sick. I see them now in a different way because we were supporting each other. Because even though he was the person being, sick, he was supporting me by trusting me, right? And one of the things he said, and now I really value them, is, I know you're going to be okay.
Wow.
I'm not worried about you.
Wow. That's beautiful.
And, and in that moment, I was like, I didn't really value those words. But now, he was seeing what it took me years to see. And so it's just different. I feel different. I have so many dreams, so many goals that I want to accomplish. And I think about my daughters, and I want them to see. And what I tell them is, and when I talk to people, I said, pain is going to be there. Pain is part of the growth, right? Like, if you want to change, if you want to evolve, there is going to be pain at some point in your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. And like my cat is a pain. But yeah, it's what you do with that pain that counts. Is what
beautifully said. So beautifully said.
Yeah, and it's, and I know a lot of people say this: pain is inevitable, suffering is optional.
Yes.
And when I hear that the first time, being in the state, yeah, sure.
they don't know. They don't know the
pain. They don't know what they're talking
right?
about, right?
Yeah.
But it's true. It's true, because you suffer when you still in the pain and you don't change. Pain is a sign that something is going to change, or something needs to change.
Beautiful.
Right? Or that something changed suddenly too, because when I lost my husband, I was in pain, right? And so and even though that happened, there are good things. I had my daughters with me, right? And my youngest daughter, she's the spitting image of my husband. Every time I look at her, it's like I'm looking at him, and they are the same, like everything. So, but it's beautiful. Now I see things in a different way. And before, it was a time where I say, like, man, why can't I just be happy and that's it? Like, why other people are happy?
Ah.
Another mistake, right? Like, we don't know the journey of other people, and we just see what we see on the surface, right? And so when you realize that happiness doesn't mean that you have to be positive all the time, and you don't have to be like bubbling all the time, but the gratitude of each and every experience that you have in your life, and doing something with it.
Wow. Well said. Well said.
Yeah. And in this case, I have a huge desire to help women, and I say women because I'm very passionate about it. I have 2 girls, and I have to say, for me, it is so powerful to embrace that as a woman, right? For me, I have 2 girls, and I want them to know, and I tell them that they can do whatever they desire to do if they put their mind on it. It's not going to come just waiting for it. They have to work hard, and there are going to be disappointments, and there are going to be painful times, but that doesn't mean that they have to stop, right? And so by having this transformation, I see my life in such a different way that has opened new horizons. Like, I shoot to the stars. Like, I don't have that glass ceiling anymore, because the only person that can stop that internally is me.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there will be a lot of circumstances that I don't have control over it. So I'm not even going to worry about those. I'm going to do the work. I'm going to do the job for me. I'm going to take my pain, do something of it, learn, and share the lessons.
Wow. Well said. Well said. So let me ask you. So you joined a speaker program, Unleash the Power of Your Story. Yes. And the title is intentional, like Unleash the Power of Your Story. Did you expect this much healing, transformation, and insight just over a story that came out of you, by the way? Like, you shared this beginning story. Did you expect that?
No. To be honest, not in a million years. I knew that first. I knew that it was going to be liberating, and I wanted to share, right? Because my okay, if I share my story, I'm going to inspire someone, and then I'm going to be able to help. But the reality is that by telling your story, the first person you help is yourself. Because the more you talk about it, the more you share it, you start thinking, oh, wow, I didn't know this. It's funny because you are telling your story. And then after, like, oh, wow, I didn't know that about Mike. How did I feel that? And it's a healing process, a growth. But no, like, honestly, I knew that it was going to be amazing. But the outcome was different in the sense that the first person that helped, it was me.
Yeah.
Right. And it just it's fantastic. It's
it's funny because in the program and in my work, whenever someone comes to me, I have this process called ETR, earn the right. And I remember when I worked with my coach, he said you have to earn the right. And I don't think that people understand what I mean by earn the right. And when I say earn the right, is dig into your story, do the work, find the lessons, sit in the lessons, uncover the lessons, dig in the lessons, so that you can find the real content that's in there. Because I truly believe that the stage is not the place we tell the superficial story that makes us look good.
Yeah.
The stage is where we tell the story that has these dips and highs and lows that people can see themselves in, but the messaging and the lessons that come out of that journey impacts people in a way that touches their lives.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, one of the things I really loved about you was you dug in and you did the work. You did the work, and you there was tears, there was moments of feeling lost, there was the big aha moments, all those things, and then here you are with this beautiful story and this beautiful just epiphany for yourself.
Yeah, no, it has been an amazing journey, right? And the lessons you think you have, the digger you deep, the deeper you're digging, you start realizing there's so much more. There's so much that we don't know that is actually impacting our lives, right? And it's not until the moment that you embrace that pain that you are feeling and you really have a really serious conversation with yourself and you look back to where you are and you say you need to realize, we need to realize that we are really the only responsible person for what is to come.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The past is gone. Those are for the lessons. You take them, right? You don't dwell on the pain. I know some pain will come. I'm not going to worry about the pain coming because even if it comes, I know that there is going to be something to learn.
Beautiful.
Right. And so now I'm just, learning. And every time I feel discomfort or pain on something, I have, okay, so what is happening? And I don't blame anyone. I don't look responsible for anyone. I just think about what am I doing? What I need to change? And what's the next step? And yeah.
Beautiful. So you emerge from the program with a desire to help women really take responsibility, like own their independence, and not from the place that they don't need anyone, but from the place of I'm complete and whole and what I can do anything I set my mind to.
Exactly. Which
right.
It's very different from saying I don't need anyone, because the reality is in some point we always, need love from our family, from our kids, but that's a completely different thing from understanding that we are enough and we need to discover what is holding us back so we can thrive with what we want to do, right?
Very cool. Very cool. Let me ask you this. I know you Cindy's asking, how do you know what the lessons are?
Okay. That's a really good question. In the way I see it is, when you're going through a painful experience, when you're going through that conversation, when you feel that something has to change, I think deep down we know what we need to do, right? And depending of your experience and what you have changed, you will understand the lesson until you take action. It's not, it's not the other way around. We think it's not like in a school where they give you the lesson and then you learn. Here you learn first by changing and trying to really find what is that you need to embrace, to change, to confront to yourself. And then once you are there, once you're on the other side, you see the whole thing. And then you know what the lesson in that moment was, right? And so for example, for me, when I was dwelling in all this pain and blaming my problems on someone else because of the decisions, the reality is that I wasn't able to see what was coming from that, because what that taught me, right, that a specific experience, when I sit down and I say, okay, who was the person saying the last word, which was, yes, I'll do it? It was me. Mm-hmm. So my lesson in that moment was, I am responsible of my own outcomes. I'm responsible of what I want to see, because I am the person saying yes or no to different things. Mm-hmm. Right? But it was after that.
It's such a great question that Cindy's asking, and I think part of what you're saying is that how you find the lessons. I always believe that you find the lessons by looking at the place where the pain's coming.
Yes.
And that pain is not a bad thing. It's uncomfortable. Yeah. Pain is not something that is wrong. Pain is just this thing that tells you, as you said, it's time to change. It's time to grow. It's time. I like to say, it says that you've been in this place far too long. That's how I process it. That you've been standing still in this place far too long, and it's time to move. And so pain's the indicator that transformation, shift, changing is necessary. Most of us don't want to look at the pain, nor do we want to feel the emotion of the pain. The lesson, however, is when you start looking at what is going on that I'm experiencing this pain. What is the source of this pain? And usually the lesson is hidden in there. But this is the thing, and this is where the program's built around. The lesson is never available when we see ourselves as the victim of the pain. The lesson only becomes available when you choose to be the hero in your life, to seek out an answer or a solution to move you out of the pain. And the lesson is often hidden in that moment you say, this is enough. So the moment you said in your story, as you shared it, that my children need me, and this thought of taking my life is so not okay. Yeah. And you said, I need to do something. It's like enough is enough is enough. Yeah. And in that moment, you stop being, and I don't use victim in a disrespectful way, but we all play the victim of circumstances, and sometimes understandably so. And it's the moment you shed the identity of victim and you say, I'm going to fight to be the hero or heroine in my life. And it's in that moment that the lesson becomes available. And you can't always see it. And I know for you and I, it was in a session where we were unpacking something and we were actually building out your story to build a program, that I asked you a question and it was like,
yes.
There are the lessons, right? And so one is oftentimes you may need someone to help you do the exploration.
Yes.
The lessons are available when you're willing to be heroic enough to do the exploration.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the first step, I'll say, to accept that there is a need for you to do something and to be willing to listen, to share, and to embrace what is coming, right? It's a beautiful process. I honestly, we hear from it in such different ways, right? There is so much going around about how important it is to have the coaching sessions and the programs. And the reality is, I came across the other day about this, thing that was saying that talk about toxic positivity, right? And I think it's very dangerous because some people out there, they say like everything is going to be fine and don't worry and everything is so easy, but that's not the reality.
No.
And that's a danger, right? That's why I think it's when you when you earn the right, you know that that's not true, and you're never going to tell people that that's true. Right?
Oh, somebody put that in the comment section. When you earn the right, you know that it's not easy and you will never tell someone. It's so true.
Yeah.
It's so true. And I think, one of the things, the reason we talk about earning the right in our program, and we require everyone to do that work, is that when you earn the right, you understand the struggle of someone else. You can connect with the struggle. Now, our struggles are never the same, so you can't totally say, I understand. But what it is I can be compassionate, I can be empathetic, I can see situations that I can help you answer because I've done my work.
Yeah.
And I know what it feels like to do the work.
Exactly.
And I think when you earn the right, you tell your story in a way that reveals the work and the struggle in the work to the people that are listening.
Yeah.
And you also have the ability, as you're doing tonight, is bring them out the other side. And great stories give hope. They provide inspiration. They provide possibility to another person.
Yeah, and Suzanne, that we were talking about it the other day, right? It is important that we understand that there are going to be challenges, right? And that everyone struggles with the pain. Remember our last conversation?
Yeah.
Because what I was telling you was when you realize and when you're, honestly accept that there's going to be bumps in the way and the pain is part of the process, then you realize that those people, that have gone through that, you help them see what is possible.
Yes.
Right? And that's what we need, because the reality is like it's a process. You're gonna feel pain sometimes. You're gonna feel like you can do it, or that you like go 2 steps back, 2 steps forward, 1 back. That's a normal thing.
Yeah.
Right? But that doesn't mean you have to stop. That means that you are going through a journey, and you need to embrace every step of the way, because when we see just, do you see that the iceberg, right? Like, have you seen that picture of the iceberg, that everything is on the top and you don't see all the mess underneath? You need to get to that mess to go up. Otherwise you're stuck. It's like putting away one chain at a time, like, and then it's how you start emerging. And that's a beautiful thing.
So for anyone listening who's thinking, well, I want to speak and I want to go through, maybe I want to go through this journey, what would you say to them? If they want to unleash the power of their story, what would be your words to them?
I will say, please know that all that you have gone through has a meaning and has a message, and that there is someone else there that needs to hear that message and that needs to know your journey. It is a beautiful, transformational, and amazing process that will let you understand and acknowledge the power that is within you, and how you can put all those experiences and stories that you have in a path where you can help others. And that's I can say so many things, but I think that's the best way I can say it. And I have to recognize, Susan, like it is been more than I thought it was going to be. I knew it was going to be fantastic because I wanted to be your student since always. So for me, it's like, I know it's going to be great, but nothing prepared me for the way I'm seeing things today.
Wow.
And I'm so grateful and I feel so blessed. And I want to thank you for that.
You are so welcome. You are so welcome. And it's been an absolute joy. Just, for me, I remind myself that, we are our first students. And I remember when I was my sort of first student doing the exact same work that you were doing. The blessing of it is today I get to journey with other people as they go through that transformation. And the gift for me is to see who they see themselves as being. And that person's always been there. It's just that the work just needed to do to uncover. And I'll never forget the day when you had your breakthrough. If you could have jumped up and down and danced around the room, but you couldn't do that and be on camera at the same time. But that was the energy and the excitement. And I just want to say congratulations.
Thank you. No, thank you.
And thank you for joining us tonight and taking the time to share your story.
No, I'm more than happy, and as I said, right, this is kind of the moment, the highlight of my journey right now so far, and it's amazing, and I really hope that through this, hour that we have shared this conversation, I have give some insight to those that are sharing this time with us, because that's what gives me fuel to keep going as well, right? And I'm so proud of myself now. Like, I say that to my daughters, I say that to people, but I think we all should take a moment and acknowledge and congratulate ourselves to how far we have come, whatever is that we are there, and the journey never ends, right? That's the other thing that I will say is very important to understand. It's a journey that we are supposed to be living through our lives, and it's a beautiful one.
Well, thank you so much. I have been sitting down with Claudia Ojeda. We are talking about magnetize and monetize the virtual stage. It is our free preview that's coming up. Claudia has been through 3 of our programs that are focused on storytelling, speaking, and commanding the stage. And when we talk about commanding the stage, it's commanding the stage of 1, the stage of 10, or the stage of thousands. And I and Taria, who co-facilitates with me, love to just bring people through that process. And Claudia she's in the middle of her 3rd program with us, and just having magical things happen. And so I know we have dropped the link for our free showcase, Magnetize and Monetize the Virtual Stage. This is where you get a sense of why storytelling is so important. We're going to give you an overview of the impact of storytelling and the impact that you can have on your life. So definitely go ahead and click the link, register, come hang out with us as we begin to do that webinar series. And for me, it is just a gift. It is truly a gift. You have been listening to Unstoppable Mindset. Our commitment is to provide you with breakthrough strategies to help you reset your thinking. This month, we're talking about the mindset behind speaking and storytelling. I believe that speaking and storytelling is an art. It is definitely a craft, and speakers have such a huge responsibility. When an audience allows you to take the stage and pour into them for a period of time, I think it's worth doing the work and earning the right to take the stage and impart and pour into someone for the time they give. And we've had some students doing some incredible work. We're going to be showcasing a number of them as we share this session during the month of September. So we will see you back here next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My name is Suzanne Hart. I've been sitting down with Claudia Ojeda, and we are in Unstoppable Mindset. Take care, blessings, and I will see you here next week.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.